doesn't matter that South Dakota allows you to become a resident after 1 day when the state you're leaving doesn't recognize it. When my parents moved from Minnesota to Florida, Minnesota challenged their claim of Florida residency. My parents had to prove with utility bills and credit card statements that they live in the new state for over 6 months.
Right. It's interesting that this person commented disagreeing with our claim that you can move your state residency to South Dakota or Florida, whichever. He basically posted that he disagreed with our statement, and in his response, he tells us the exact thing you need to do to be considered a resident in that state so that your previous state recognizes your new state of residency. And he's exactly right. Just taking off and moving to the state of Florida, look at the zero tax states like South Dakota or like Florida. They look at them as possible in-country tax havens. And so in order for you to officially move from Minnesota, we'll use this example, to officially move from Minnesota to Florida, then you need to prove you have that connection to the state of Florida. So, for example, if you say, I'm going to move my state of residency from Minnesota to Florida, but you don't really move, you still get your utility bills at your home in Minnesota, you still have your bank statements going to your home in Minnesota, just moving your driver's license to Florida is not enough. You need to move everything, including yourself. Technically also, you need to move everything to the state of Florida. So you need to get a driver's license in Florida. You need to change your voter registration to the state of Florida. You need to change your bank statements, your credit cards. Anybody that sends you a bill, you need to change that to your new Florida address so that all of your connecting factors are pointing to Florida instead of Minnesota. And then possibly, because Florida is a zero tax state, the Department of Revenue in Minnesota might want some history of proof that you actually are in Florida. And so that's pretty easy to prove. After a few months, you basically can show them your utility bill or 6 months of bank statements or 6 months of a credit card statement, and you're done. It's pretty straightforward. It's really not that big of a deal. And like I said, I do find it interesting that the commenter actually answered his own question in there because he said his parents weren't allowed to move without showing the change of address on their statements. Well, that's actually the answer to the question, is change the statements.